This baby elephant had no idea that its playful splashing would turn into a fight for survival. The scorching South African sun beat down as the herd lumbered across the arid landscape, desperate for relief. When they finally reached the watering hole, the adults waded in cautiously while the calf bounded ahead, trunk raised in delight. Cool mud squelched between its toes as the baby elephant frolicked at the water's edge. Each step sank deeper as it ventured further from shore. Suddenly, panic flashed in its eyes. The calf's legs were trapped, firmly stuck in the thick, clinging mud. It trumpeted in distress, thrashing wildly, but only managed to sink further. The herd, oblivious to the danger, continued drinking and bathing. As they prepared to move on, piercing cries finally caught their attention. Heads swiveled toward the source, their youngest member, now chest-deep in muck and unable to free itself. The mother elephant rushed to her baby's aid, reaching out with her trunk, but her efforts only seemed to push the calf deeper. Other adults joined in, crowding around the edge of the muddy pit. They stretched their trunks, straining to grab hold of the struggling infant. Desperation mounted as each attempt failed. The calf's cries grew weaker, its energy fading fast under the merciless sun. The herd's trumpeting intensified, a chorus of fear and frustration echoing across the savannah. Miles away, rangers at the wildlife sanctuary perked up their ears. Something was wrong. They leapt into their jeep and sped toward the watering hole, dust billowing behind them. As the vehicle approached, the elephant's protective instincts kicked in. They formed a tight circle around their trapped member, facing outward with ears flared and trunks raised menacingly. The rangers slowed, assessing the tense situation. Carefully, they began to circle the herd, hoping to calm the agitated giants. But the elephants stood firm, unwilling to expose their vulnerable young one to these strange intruders. The standoff stretched on as precious minutes ticked by. The rangers realized they needed a new strategy. To save the calf, they'd have to separate it from the protective adults. They revved the engine and edged closer, a calculated risk to startle the herd. The ploy worked, perhaps too well. Some of the younger, more skittish elephants trumpeted in alarm and bolted. Seeing members of their family flee, the older elephants faced an agonizing choice: stay with the trapped calf or follow the retreating herd to ensure their safety. Nature's brutal logic won out. With heavy hearts, the adult elephants turned away. Their rumbling calls of distress faded as they lumbered after the others, leaving the baby to its fate. The rangers approached the lone calf cautiously. Its eyes rolled wildly, reflecting equal parts terror and exhaustion. "Easy there, little one," one ranger murmured soothingly. "We're here to help." But good intentions weren't enough. The team tried every trick they knew: ropes, planks, even attempting to dig around the elephant's legs. Nothing worked. The calf sank incrementally deeper with each failed attempt, its trumpeting now a pitiful whimper. Just as despair began to set in, a miracle occurred. Whether through sheer determination or a sudden shift in the mud's consistency, the baby elephant gave one last mighty heave. With a wet sucking sound, it wrenched itself free and scrambled to solid ground on shaky legs. The rangers breathed a collective sigh of relief, but their celebration was short-lived. As they approached the calf, they noticed its breathing becoming labored and erratic. The elephant's eyes began to roll back, and it suddenly collapsed onto its side. "It's going into shock," one of the rangers shouted. Without hesitation, the team sprang into action. The lead ranger, a veteran with years of wildlife rescue experience, knew they had precious little time. He rushed to the calf's side and began chest compressions, using all his strength to push against the elephant's massive rib cage. "Come on, little one," he muttered through gritted teeth. "Don't give up now." The other rangers worked frantically, some massaging the elephant's trunk to stimulate breathing, others preparing emergency medications. Minutes stretched like hours as they fought to keep the young elephant alive. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, the calf suddenly gasped. Its chest began to rise and fall more steadily. The lead ranger sat back, exhausted but elated. "It's a miracle," he breathed, wiping sweat from his brow. Slowly, the baby elephant's eyes fluttered open. It let out a weak trumpet, as if announcing its triumph over death itself. The rangers exchanged amazed glances, scarcely able to believe what they had just witnessed. But their job wasn't done. The calf was alone, weak, and vulnerable. They needed to reunite it with the herd before predators caught its scent. However, the elephant's ordeal had left it distrustful and unpredictable. Making a difficult call, the team decided to restrain the calf. They worked quickly, using soft ropes to secure its legs while avoiding its flailing trunk. The elephant trumpeted in protest, clearly unhappy with this new predicament. One ranger approached, speaking in low, soothing tones. He offered a container of water, holding it out at arm's length. The calf's thirst eventually overcame its fear. It reached out with its trunk, siphoning up the life-giving liquid. Some it drank greedily, the rest it sprayed over its mud-caked body. Taking advantage of the calm moment, another ranger performed a quick health check. Miraculously, the calf seemed to be recovering, though still exhausted and scared. But time was of the essence. They needed to find its family soon. As the afternoon wore on, the rangers noticed the elephant becoming increasingly agitated. Its head swiveled constantly, ears twitching at every sound. The calf was searching for something, or someone. Suddenly, a low rumble carried on the wind. The baby elephant's ears pricked forward, and it let out an eager squeal. The rangers exchanged shocked glances. Could it be? The sound grew louder, unmistakable now. A herd of elephants was approaching. Against all odds, the family had returned to search for their lost member. The calf strained against its bonds, desperate to answer the calls. Quickly, the rangers untied the ropes. As soon as it was free, the baby elephant bolted toward the sounds of its herd, newfound strength in its legs. The humans scrambled back to their vehicle, not wanting to come between the reuniting family. Two rangers stayed behind, watching from a distance as the touching scene unfolded. The herd emerged from the brush, trunks raised as they caught the scent of their missing calf. When they spotted the baby running toward them, their pace quickened. The mother reached her child first, her trunk gently caressing its mud-caked body as if hardly daring to believe it was real. Other members of the herd crowded around, rumbling and touching the calf with their trunks in elephant greetings. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the savanna, the reunited herd moved off together. The baby elephant, though still a bit wobbly, kept pace with its family. The two rangers watched until the elephants disappeared from view, marveling at the day's events. Nature could be cruel, but it also had the capacity for incredible resilience and compassion. They had witnessed both extremes in the span of a few hours. As they drove back to join their team at the sanctuary, the rangers reflected on the lessons learned. The rangers felt privileged to have played a small part in the drama, but ultimately it was elephant resilience and family bonds that carried the day. And so life on the savanna continued, beautiful, harsh, and full of surprises.